Have you ever felt like a massive technological shift is happening, like right under your feet? Well, get ready because the very foundation of the software industry as we know it is starting to crack. Today, we're tackling a huge question. Are traditional software as a service companies actually doomed? A whole new wave of autonomous AI agents is here, and it's about to kick off the next multi-trillion-dollar tech revolution. And hey, don't just take my word for it. This right here is a bombshell prediction from the CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang. He's not just talking about some small incremental change. He is declaring the end of software as a service, or SaaS, and the beginning of AaaS, Agentic as a Service. This is the big idea we're unpacking today. This move away from software as a passive tool to AI as an active, autonomous digital worker. So what's the engine driving this, well, tectonic shift? It's a piece of technology that seemed to come out of nowhere and just changed everything. It's called OpenClaw. And no, that is not an exaggeration. To put this in perspective for you, what took the legendary open source project Linux over 30 years to achieve, OpenClaw did in just a few weeks. The speed, the scale of its adoption, it's totally unprecedented. And that alone tells you just how big of a deal this really is. So what exactly is it? Okay, think of OpenClaw like the Windows or the Mac OS for a totally new generation of computers, what we're calling agentic computers. It's that foundational software layer that allows AI models to stop just answering our questions and to actually start doing things. It is literally the operating system for AI agents. And this slide right here shows you what that means in practice. An agent that's running on OpenClaw is not just some chatbot. It can manage your files, it can access tools, it can connect to all sorts of different large language models, or LLMs. It can take a huge, complex goal, like say plan an entire marketing campaign, break that down into dozens of smaller steps, and then schedule all those tasks. It can even create and delegate work to specialized sub-agents. See? This isn't a tool, it's a digital colleague. To really get the sheer magnitude of this, you've got to look at the history of these big computing revolutions, right? Back in the 90s, HTML created the internet we all use. In the 2000s, Linux powered the open source movement. The 2010s gave us Kubernetes, which enabled the mobile cloud. Each one of these was a foundational layer that unlocked literally trillions of dollars in value. And the argument now is that OpenClaw is the next one on that list. It's the foundation for this whole new agentic economy. Okay, this all sounds incredible, right? A brand new digital workforce that can automate all sorts of complex tasks. But there's one enormous catch, a huge problem, really, that has stopped this whole revolution from going mainstream in the corporate world, at least until now. This is the question that is keeping CEOs and CTOs up at night. How in the world do you control an autonomous, unpredictable digital worker that you've just given the keys to the kingdom? I mean, think about it. If you give an AI agent access to your network and your data so it can do its job, how do you make sure it doesn't go rogue? How do you trust something that can literally think and act for itself? And here's the nightmare scenario. An agent could waltz into your most sensitive financial data, your confidential HR files, your supply chain logistics. It could decide to write and then run its own code right on your servers. And maybe the most terrifying part, it could communicate with the outside world, leaking that sensitive data without anyone even knowing. This is the billion-dollar barrier. And this is where a company like NVIDIA steps into the picture. They saw this massive security gap, and they built the solution that's designed to bridge it, to finally make these powerful AI agents safe enough for the enterprise. They call it NemoClaw. Now, this is a crucial point. NemoClaw isn't trying to replace OpenClaw, not at all. Think of it more like a supercharger. It's a reference architecture, a blueprint that takes all the brilliant open source power of OpenClaw and wraps it in these tough layers of security and privacy that big companies absolutely demand. So here's the breakdown of how it works. First, there's the open shell technology. This creates a secure sandbox, a safe little bubble for the agent to work in without it being able to mess with the rest of the network. Second, the privacy router. This thing acts like a super strict bouncer for your data, controlling exactly which files and databases the agent is even allowed to look at. And then finally, you've got the policy guardrail, which is basically the rulebook, making sure the agent always follows your company's specific compliance rules. So with that huge security problem solved, the floodgates can finally open. And we're not just talking about a new piece of tech anymore. This is about the birth of an entirely new economic paradigm, the agentic economy. This comparison just lays it all out, plain and simple. We are moving from a world of passive software tools to a world of active, autonomous agents. The workforce of the future, it's going to be a hybrid of human workers and digital workers. And our data centers, which were originally built just to store data, they're transforming into what are being called AI factories, which are built to actually produce intelligence. And the economic scale of this whole transformation, it's just staggering. I mean, the enterprise IT industry right now is valued at around $2 trillion. This new Agentic as a Service, or AaaS industry, isn't just going to replace that, it's going to expand it into a multi-trillion-dollar market. We're not just getting a bigger slice of the pie here, the entire pie is getting exponentially larger. So, okay, what does all this mean for you? For the average knowledge worker, for an engineer? Well, this is where it gets really personal. Your future compensation package might look very, very different. Just imagine getting your salary plus an annual token budget. It's basically a pot of computational currency that you can use to deploy a whole team of digital workers to multiply your own productivity by like tenfold. And if you're thinking that sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, well, think again. According to Jensen Huang, this is already becoming a key question in Silicon Valley recruiting. The top engineers aren't just asking about salary anymore. They're asking, how many tokens come with my job? Access to AI is actually becoming a form of compensation. It's a measure of how committed a company is to the future. Which, of course, brings us all the way back to where we started. If AaaS really is the future, what happens to the old way of doing things? And, more personally, what happens to us? We are, undeniably, building a new class of digital workers that can operate completely on their own. So the crucial question is this: will these AI agents replace us, or will they just give us superpowers? Will things like these token budgets just amplify our own abilities beyond anything we can imagine today? The future of work, it really hangs in the balance.